Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game Black Forest. Here's what Black Forest looks like over here. This is a game almost of two parts. It is a resource management game using these dials. Um, it's a really interesting system. I'm not going to go into how that works, but it is an interesting system for spending, for collecting, for gaining resources. These dials over here. They're very similar to the dials in the game Glass Road. However, there is a whole other part of the game that I think is fascinating. It's my favorite part of the game. That is this part of the game over here, the board, where you're taking most of your, well, really all of your actions in the game. On your turn, you are picking up your traveler. Here's your little traveler, your worker meeple here, and you are moving it to any different circle on the board. And you're either paying a cost, like if I'm traveling from this little town to this little town, these little hamlets, there's a little food cost here that I have to pay. If there are other players here, I need to pay them resources of my choice. It can be, I think, any basic resource, maybe even any resource of my choice when I move there. That is the core system. And each of these tiles has different actions, different benefits that you're gaining. Now, the real highlight for me here among these different tiles is the wagon tile. And I don't know if I can find it. Here's the wagon right here. It looks a little bit different than the other tiles. The wagon tile is special. The wagon tile, at any time, you can pay a small cost to move the wagon to you. It's like a traveling merchant that you can move to you. And in doing so, so say I was over here, I didn't want to pay the cost to move to this other town. And so the wagon's right here. I can pay the wagon's cost to move the wagon over here and swap it with a tile that I have in front of me. So that tile moves over here, and I now have that wagon tile right here in front of me in this town. And one of the reasons this is really important is because when my worker is here, not only am I gaining the wagon benefit, but I'm also gaining the benefit of the tile that I'm next to. You're always between two actions. You're gaining both of those actions. You're taking both of those actions on your turn. So moving the wagon can really help you immediately. The wagon is one of the main ways of getting a variety of resources in the game. Also, though, if you are in the town where the wagon is, you can push the wagon away and you can bring another tile over to you. So on an ongoing basis, you are changing the shape of the board. These tiles are somewhat randomly put out at the beginning of the game. There are some restrictions, but pretty much these tiles are randomly placed at the beginning of the game. And so if as you're playing, you really need the board to change a little bit, the wagon is how you can do that. So I really, really like this. I really like how the wagon changes the shape of the game as you play. It changes the combination of actions on an ongoing basis. And it's something that any player can do pretty much at any time if they can pay for it, to move the wagon to get to them or to swap the wagon with another tile, bringing that tile to you. So you don't even have to move around the board. You can let the actions come to you, which I think is really, really cool on a game with a spatial element, a spatial action selection element like this. So that is my favorite mechanism in Black Road. I'd love to hear what you think if you've played Black Road, if you have the same or a different favorite mechanism, or if you can think of another game that has an action similar to this, where you can change the shape of the board on an ongoing basis. And I should note that you're not changing so much of the board that you're completely disrupting other players. You're changing two tiles, changing the position of two tiles. And even if a player, maybe you took a tile away from a player who really wanted it there, they can swap it back, or at the very least, they now have the wagon next to them, which is a pretty good action that they can take on their own. The wagon also, I forgot to mention this, the wagon also has a little bit of positive player interaction, because when you take the wagon action, all other players get one of the basic resources that you gain from the wagon. So yeah, that's my favorite mechanism in Black Forest. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.